Today is all about signs that you have outgrown emotional regulation. And if you're thinking, how can you outgrow emotional regulation? Well, it probably means you are ready for the next phase. So let's get started.
Welcome to the I'm Perfectly Divine podcast, a place for the strong, sensitive, spiritual seeker to recognize the perfection of your human journey as a pathway to bridge both the emotional and spiritual worlds through proven and grounded frameworks that support you to live in the wholeness you already are. For over the past 2 decades, I have supported people from all around the world, as well as Fortune 500 companies, to dissolve the divisions within them and live with greater empowerment and love. This podcast is an exploration of the paradoxes that befuddle us as we live our lives being both human and divine. Together, you and I, along with other experts, will navigate integrating psychology and spirituality, the divine feminine and the divine masculine, the darkness and the light, to create greater sacred union from within. I believe through your remembering that you are innately divine, that you will allow yourself to more openly shine. So let's get to it, because your unique light is needed more than ever.
Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome to I'm Perfectly Divine podcast. Today, we are moving beyond emotional regulation. And I want to discuss with you what the signs are that you're ready to move beyond emotional regulation. And my sense is that you being a part of this podcast, you're ready for this. And it's really breaking out of this notion, this mold that we have around emotions, that you're either emotionally unregulated, dysregulated, right? Or you are regulated. And it's only these dichotomies that we are in. And so, when given a choice of being emotionally out of control or in control of our emotions, being dramatic and living our life on an emotional roller coaster, or feeling like we can calm ourselves, of course, we're going to choose regulation. We're going to choose being able to calm ourselves, right? And so this isn't about going back to trying to be to the drama that emotions can be when we don't understand how to calm ourselves. But it's understanding that we can move beyond this phase. And today, I want to provide you with the signs that your essence, your being, that is constantly desiring to grow, is demonstrating signs that you're ready for this next phase. And you just haven't really been fully aware of the phases that happen beyond regulation, because being able to regulate our emotions is touted as the be all end all. And many of you know that I worked in corporations, and I would bring training to corporations to help people with their emotions. And I was always trying to help them move beyond regulation as well. I was trying to help them understand the empowered guidance. But truth be told, why corporations hired me is because they didn't want people's emotional out of control coming out in meetings. They didn't know how to handle it. And so they brought me in to help people find inner peace. And of course, I want this for you. And moving beyond emotional regulation is not about taking away our inner peace. It's how to truly anchor it in. And so let's get into it. Let's get into how we can truly honor ourselves and honor this energy that is innate to all of us. And I think this is part of it, is that it's understanding that no one wants to feel like they're constantly reactive or creating drama, right? So we have learned the tools to steady ourselves. We have learned the breathing techniques. When an emotion comes, we just breathe, and in 90 seconds it goes away. We've learned to meditate or exercise, prayer, you name it, to find our center again. And we have gotten really good at calming ourselves down when intensity arises, right? And learning to pause instead of react is something that we need to grow into. It is a valuable life skill that we want to emotionally mature into. And so this is why emotional regulation is something that is spoken about so often, because we want to be able to have the skill and learn the skill of being able to shift from that reactionary state of when this power of our emotions come forward to being able to calmly respond. And so in this, it helps us not to rock the boat so much that we're blowing up relationships, that we're blowing up our careers. And that's part of it, right? This is a power that is within us. And so we are learning the responsibility of how to channel this power. But with just learning the how to dial the intensity back, how to calm ourselves, that leaves us in this spot where, okay, I can bite my tongue, I can swallow my truth in order not to be reactionary, but it doesn't allow us to funnel this divinely given energy that is meant to support you to live out your highest expression of self. It is energy that is there to help you transform into who you came here to be. And so being able to pull back the intensity, so again, you're not blowing up all aspects of your life, is part of being responsible with power. But then there comes a phase of, well, I'm ready to learn how to work with this power. I don't want it just to be dialed down within me. And so what we haven't recognized is our feelings are still impacting us, even if we've learned how to sequester this emotional intensity that we are feeling in the moment. So we tell ourselves we're over it, but here are some signs that this emotional energy is it's still there, but but you haven't found the way and how to channel it in a way that feels good, that feels alive for you. And so these signs that you have outgrown emotional regulation and are ready to move on to the next phase include this sense of you've learned not to rock the boat so much so that if you're being completely honest with yourself, a part of your life starts to feel dull or deadened or empty because in that turning down that intensity, we've done so well with that that we are disconnected from our life force. We're basically saying, I don't trust you, life force, if we don't know how to dial it back and then channel it. If a way that you may try to work through this emotional intensity that's still within you is that you feel like you've got to stay busy all the time. You're busy working, you're busy cleaning, you're busy working out. You're constantly on the go. You've got to stay busy to the point where you don't want to go to bed until you're exhausted. And you do this because otherwise the monkey mind's going to turn on. Well, the monkey mind is turning on because there is some insights that can be that are trying to come through that sound annoying, that sound like that monkey mind. But again, we don't know how to discern because all we have learned to do is dial back that energy that's meant to move us forward. You may turn to alcohol, drugs, Netflix, death scrolling, gaming, all as that all of this becomes like a normal way of life for you when really it's a way of distancing ourselves or numbing ourselves from actually living, um, or you just feel stuck, unmotivated, and lacking purpose. So there is absolutely no judgment with any of these. These are signs that you're ready for more, that you're ready to learn how to work with this energy and allow it to run through you in a way where you can still respond to it, and you're doing so consciously rather than unconsciously. And so it's honoring yourself, first of all, that you've moved to a place of emotional maturity to take responsibility, that you're not just vomiting your emotions or throwing emotional bombs on people for every time that you get triggered. It's honoring that. And it's also honoring that I've had this notion, this gnosis, this knowing in my heart that, gosh, especially if I'm emotionally sensitive, especially if I'm a spiritual person, that there's got to be a reason that I've been given these emotions and that they're guiding me for something more. So, what is that? So, the next phase asks you to be honest with yourself so that you can see if, in learning how not to rock the boat through emotional regulation, if you've accidentally rocked yourself to sleep, if you've rocked yourself into tolerating less than you deserve, or if you've rocked yourself into living a life where you're just going through the motions. And this is what our heart consciousness can help us feel into. And it is a feeling into, because the rational mind wants to defend how we're living, what we're doing. And it's our heart that, again, is always guiding us towards growth, always guiding us to our fullest expression of self. And so, again, it's not judgments about the ways that we can avoid life. And because some of them, done in very, minimal amounts, can be pleasure. But when does it turn to that escaping where it actually takes away from our life force energy? And that takes another level of emotional maturity to be able to look at. And it's certainly one that I know for myself that, I would have my defenses around. So when you're ready for more of that vitality, though, you'll be ready to look at those pieces, those signs that you're ready for more. And so, again, it's saying, wow, do I really feel like I would have been given so much internal life force energy, especially if I'm emotionally sensitive, just for the sole purpose of learning to regulate it? I mean, what's the point of that, right? When you are given an incredible amount of power, of course, we want to know how to work with it responsibly. We do this so that when we are ready, we can utilize this energy within us for our highest good and the highest good of all. And that's what happens when we bring our higher consciousness that comes from our heart's inner knowing, and integrate this. So, what often gets misunderstood is that emotional regulation, again, is like this kind of final destination, when really it is only a short-term relief tool. You learn strategies so that in the moment you can find your center. And again, this is a skill. It's an important skill that you want to be able to develop, and it's part of our emotional maturity and growth. The problem with staying so focused on regulation is that we're going to fall into ways that numb, that distract, and that move you past your negative feelings in the moment, so much so that you lose connection to the energy that's meant to move you forward, meant to transform you so that you are reminded who you truly are. Because these negative feelings, you may be able to dial them down, disconnect from them in the short term, but why did they arise to begin with? And that's where we want to lean into curiosity and to understanding that the only way to truly be free is to get to the core as to why that emotion arose in the first place. Because life is exhausting and you will feel exhausted if all you're doing is dialing down the intensity. Because without getting to the root of the emotional trigger, your life is about, trying to put out one fire, emotional fire over here, emotional drama over there. You're running around and I'm getting triggered here, left, right, and you get tired of biting your tongue. And then finally something explodes. And it's usually with the people that we feel the closest with, and those who we trust the most, and those who we love the most. And this is where we start to damage our connection unintentionally with the most important people in our lives. And I would say we start to emphasize distrust in ourselves and we blame it on our emotions. And it's not our emotions, it's our lack of skill with them. And I say this with love and honor because we have not been taught this. And so this is not about beating ourselves up. It's knowing we all go through this. It's like we don't yell at a child that falls down when they're learning to walk. It's part of it. And so we have our emotional stumbles, our emotional triggers, and yet no one's told us really like the end result where you get to run and be free when you learn how to walk, that ultimately you get to run and be free. It's the same emotionally. You get to fly and have wings and like do what your mind would consider is impossible. Because ultimately, by getting to the root of our emotional triggers, we are weeding out the ways that we still are buying into a perception that's fear-based, a perception that limits us and limits what we experience in life. And so the whole divine reason for our emotions is there to help us be signaled when we are in this place of fear, when we're in this place of self-limitation. Otherwise, we don't know. We're swimming in the waters that we're swimming in. We can't see it. But thankfully, the divine has given us this internal guidance system. And then what are we going to do with it? And I promise you, it's not the emotions that are to blame for anything. It's not our emotions that aren't to be trusted. It's a society that doesn't teach us the importance of our emotions and that you are someone who's here to change that. And so really it's understanding that you're a trailblazer in being able to even take this in, because it just, the emphasis has been on regulation because that makes us all good little, robots marching to everybody else's tune of what they want, what they desire, and we're not listening to our inner truth. And so we want to bring this forward for ourselves so that we are able to rock our internal world awake again. And in doing so, we awaken more to our truth. So empowerment, so first of all, the whole point of our emotions is that it is a part of your internal power that is present to support you to remember your truest, most loving, powerful self. And again, society doesn't necessarily want that for people. Society wants us to be afraid. Society wants us to um, listen to perceived people that have authority over us and to give our power away to that. And that is not who we divinely are. And the more we utilize our emotions as a place of remembrance, we will remember that what our true power is, and that we can step into our true power in a way that is honoring of our own highest good and the highest good of all. So this is an empowerment to know yourself. And there's nothing more beautiful than truly knowing yourself. Our whole point in being here is to remember who we are so we can help others do the same. And your essence has a unique expression of that remembrance that is important for others to experience through you. Like there's something about you that is so unique in how you express love and how you embody truth, that those in your life, in your community, in the lives that you touch are meant to experience you and that your unique expression. But that unique expression is going to come through the truth of you, the authentic self, not the one that's so afraid to rock the boat that you can't even be in your truth. Not the one that's so afraid to rock the boat because you've been told it's, um, it makes you bad or wrong or all sorts of things that we have bought into versus knowing the innate goodness within us and being able to express that from a place of sovereignty within ourselves. So we need to know how to use our emotions to rock our internal world open from the ego's grasps and hooks and beliefs that it has. It's keeping us imprisoned with fear and lack. And this is the power that is available to us to awaken us to the ways in which we are perceiving our reality that is unknowingly holding us back. And this is how we get to learn the next step to break free from our fear-based perceptions. Because we talk about manifesting and creating our dream life, and it starts with our perceptions of ourself and life. And so if we have these fear-based perceptions, but we're not aware of them, this is why we continue to recreate experiences in our life that we don't necessarily want, because we're not utilizing our emotions as allies to help be the signals that say, whoa, the way you're perceiving yourself and life over here is not working for you. And when we learn the empowered guidance of each of our negative emotions, they're guiding you on what to do different to support you to break free from the fear. So if you remain at this stage of trying to keep yourself regulated, you won't trust your innate power. And this to me is part of why we are struggling so much with our mental health, because we are living in this world that is telling us not to trust our emotional selves. And we need this skill to know how to regulate so we're not just lashing out and blaming. And we need to evolve to the next phase so that we can trust that this life force energy is coming through for you. It loves you. It wants what's best for you. And you just haven't known how to then take this energy and utilize it in a way that serves you. So it's like we've been told, like we've been given a knife, and we say, well, this knife is dangerous. It can kill people, right? You better be careful with the knife. So put the knife away, put it in a drawer, and, don't use it because it's dangerous. It can hurt someone. Versus actually, I can utilize this knife with intention and love to create, to carve things, to make sandwiches, I don't know, to bring more flavor to life, whatever, all the things that we do with a knife, right? And so it's being able to understand that is a part of us, that we have this capacity to learn how to skillfully work with our emotions and to break free from this notion, this belief that the knife is only here to hurt people, that the knife can't be trusted. With skill, we can utilize the knife in beautiful ways, ways we never imagined possible, ways that allow us to create in ways that we couldn't do with our fingers alone. So we want to begin to recognize our emotions in the same way. And so the unintentional aspect that many have adopted by learning to emotionally regulate is that emotions cannot be trusted. And this keeps us more and more separated from ourselves, from our truth, and it keeps your ego in charge because your ego is going to use this incorrect assumption to keep you stuck. So if you feel stuck, this is probably part of it. Your ego will say your emotions can't be trusted. Look at how they're dysregulating you. Look at how they're, rocking your inner world. This is uncomfortable. And it's going to get uncomfortable when we're going through transformation. But what is more uncomfortable to you? Staying stuck the rest of your life, feeling like there's more potential, but you never get to taste it, experience it, feel it, or being in the discomfort of it and knowing that if I keep listening within myself, I feel a power start to build within me. I see the ways in which the illusions are starting to fall away. And even though my life is not what I've intended it yet, whom I'm becoming feels better, stronger, more aligned, and more truly at peace, where I'm not trying to put out, emotional fires over here and dramas over there. And so this is how we want to be able to confront our ego. Otherwise, the ego is going to partner with your irrational mind and say, this isn't safe. We feel uncomfortable. Now we're in this world of uncertainty. And instead, it's being able to understand that we need to get uncertain in order to find our way back to our truth. And there's beauty in uncertainty. There's beauty in what is going to unfold because at least we know it's not going to be the same old, same old. But again, this is not just like blowing up our life unconsciously. It's being able to walk into this next phase skillfully, where you consciously choose discomfort over certainty because you know you're meant for more and you're tired of being stuck. And this is a conscious choice. And you can do so from empowerment and love. That's the whole point. So you are ready to utilize your emotions as guides to change the lens and the filter that is currently creating your reality. So if some part of your reality is not working for you, your emotions are going to be amazing allies to support you to understand what am I seeing or perceiving that is not working for me. And it can be as simple as that. And what do you want me to see or understand instead? And you recognize that an empowered approach to your emotions is the power to rock your inner world more open from all the defenses, from all the ways we cocoon ourselves off from the world. We distract ourselves. We live our life like we want to know the next uh, series of a show on Netflix. And I raise my hand because I've gotten way too caught up in Netflix series. And until I realized, like, wow, I'm saying I'd rather watch this next episode than like go out and do something. And that's where it's like reality check. Like, let's live our lives. Let's experience lives, not through screens, right? So we want our emotions to rock our inner world open. And this is a skill you can also learn, just like emotional regulation. And you want to learn the skill so that your emotional energy can help you create transformation from a place of responsibility, humility, and love. So rather than try to control our emotions, it's vital to use this energy to see how we are inwardly being propelled to go beyond what our rational mind can conceive of for ourselves in our lives, because our mind is limited. Our rational mind is limited, but our higher mind, our mind that's connected to our higher selves, spirit, is unlimited. And so empowerment in in working with our emotions changes the way you perceive the world. And then beyond empowerment is then where we emotionally embody the changes that have occurred within us and in the way we perceive the world, so that how you show up in the world is changed, that embodies the love and power and truth and authenticity of who you are. So embodiment is to experience the peace and the love that naturally resides within us. And the more we anchor in to the remembrance of who we truly are as both human and divine, the more we know in our heart of hearts the love that we are, regardless of mistakes, because we can see that we needed to go through all of these human quote unquote missteps that are part of the divine plan to get us to remember. So again, I'm going back to that analogy of like a toddler learning to walk. We don't freak out when they fall, they stumble, they do all the things. And they don't judge themselves either. It's just like, yeah, this is part of it. It's the same. This is what we're learning. It's just elongated for our emotional growth compared to our physical growth. So it's really understanding that this place of embodiment isn't a destination. I shouldn't even say place. It's an experience of embodiment that we continue to practice. It's not, and we continue to practice to anchor it in, but it's not like this final destination we reach. As long as we're alive, we're practicing it because life continues to bring us different circumstances, different experiences, so that we get to play in this field of remembering who we are in all these different combinations. So again, that we get to remember the love and power that we are. And so it's this act that we get to practice this for ourselves imperfectly and know ourselves through love so that we can love others with greater compassion and love for them and who they are and their unique expression of self. So, um, what I believe embodiment helps us do is it really allows you to show up and live your life in a way that is beyond just our individual self. Like, I think when we're looking at psychology and the hero's journey, it's like we're out to prove ourselves and we want to, manifest all these things for ourselves. And that is beautiful. And I am not judging that. And this is a part of our growth experience because at some point we'll see the beauty in that and the power in that, and also at the same time that there's just an innate part of us that desires to contribute, that desires us to be connected to one another, to help one another. And so this is what embodiment feels like. It's that sense of it's beyond me. It's that combination of our humanity and our divinity that allows us to believe in something bigger than our rational mind can conceive of, than our rational mind knows the way to get there. It still allows us to believe in something bigger than ourselves and something more than ourselves. In other words, it's just not about me. And we see how we are intertwined in a loving way. And we see that there are times where it's just about you, and there's a beauty to that as well. So it's that grace that allows us to take into our sense of being that we are truly love and that we are truly one. And we're just all these interwoven threads of love that we get to experience one another. And so that's why it's such a blessing to me that we get to be connected, that you tune in and we get to play with these concepts together, because this is what our emotions intend for us to do so that we know ourselves and we know one another. So there's this quote um, that goes something like, with great power comes great responsibility. And it's understanding that you are the only one that can be responsible for moving your life beyond emotional regulation, beyond feeling stuck, to being enlivened with your truth. So regulation gives us that path to guide us to take responsibility for our reactions, but we need empowerment to awaken us out of fear-based illusions. And if we aren't using our emotions in that way, we're missing the power piece. The more we empower ourselves to consciously choose to not just handle, but receive our negative feelings, receive them as unique guides, each of them unique. There's a reason why we feel anger in one moment and sadness in another, and guilt or anxiety. They each are providing you with unique guidance so that you know what specific action to take to break free. And with that emotion comes the energy to break free from your ego's illusions. The more we're able to do this and practice this, the more we embody the love that we came here to be. And it's through the embodiment that we are able to hold all of who we are, individually and collectively, all of who we are. So we're not judging, we're seeing the purpose to it all the shame, all the crap we've held on to, the experiences we've had. We see where it's building us to remember our truth and the love that we came here to be, and that we as humans wanted a felt sense of this. It's the whole point. We can spiritually, you can get stuff in your head, but our human selves want to embody this. We want to feel it. We want to know it in all of ourselves. And that is the point. And this is where embodiment takes us, that we're able to hold it all. And as we do, individually and collectively, we gain love, faith, and trust in ourselves again and in the collective. We know that we are all going through this collective metamorphosis that our emotions take us on. And we know in our heart of hearts that the same is occurring collectively. And that is how you practice living with both peace and power, to allow yourself and the world to transform to higher consciousness and love. So thank you, thank you, thank you for listening, to taking this in. And please, if you know someone who is ready to move beyond being stuck, if they've confided in you that they feel stuck or just lifeless, or I don't know, they're just hitting their head against a wall, whatever it is, you know the feeling, share this with them, because this may be the piece that gives them hope, that gives them understanding. It's like, okay, there's just been this other skill I had no idea that I even had to understand. And you're expanding this web of us collectively learning to remember our truths, to trust in ourselves, and to trust in the love and power that we are. So please share this. If you want to learn more skills on how to empower yourself with emotions and then embody them, I've got some good news, because I'm going to be providing in the next upcoming weeks free journeys, free experiences of what this feels like from an empowerment and embodiment lens, to integrate your emotions powerfully, lovingly, and from a place of trust. So if you have not been a part of my community, please sign up to be a part of my newsletter. I send something out once a week about the podcast. I also share deeper questions that you can reflect on, and as well as embodiment practices in my weekly newsletter. So I will provide a link in the show notes to sign up for that as well. So until next time, please know that there's nothing to fix, just to remember.
I am so honored you have joined me today. If you enjoyed the I'm Perfectly Divine podcast, subscribe so you don't miss any of our power-filled episodes. Also, if you know another who is strong, sensitive, and spiritual and wants to dive deeper into emotions and ancient wisdom so they too can create profound peace and fulfillment from within, please share this podcast. Thank you again for joining me, and I look forward to reconnecting with you soon.